Riviera and the seaside resort of San.Remo. For 51 weeks a year, it's a bustling, busy place, a magnet for tourists and locals alike. But for that remaining week, the World Rally Championship comes to town for the final all-tarmac event of the season, round 11 of 14. Of Italy, better known as the Rally San.Remo, is run in the mountains high above the town, only a handful of miles from the French border. 18 stages are spread out over the 3 days, with a single service area along the coast in the town of Imperia. But those stages use just 4 stretches of road. Day 1 saw incidents aplenty, some a little more bizarre than others. Forgetting to check his bonnet pins was secure cost Alistair McRae over a minute and a half. At the end of the day, the Mitsubishi team would withdraw McRae, concerned that an injury he'd sustained on his mountain bike before the rally hadn't healed. Joining Alistair on an early flight home was Armin Schwarz, the rally's first victim. Tony Gardemeister was lucky to escape a similar fate. His accident came inches after the finish line, so at least he didn't lose any time, and his mechanics could then fix the damage. Subaru's Petter Solberg began strongly, but things soon began to go wrong for the Norwegian. That spin and a 10-second penalty for a jump start meant Solberg wasn't happy.
Well, I don't believe it, you know. I've never taken a jump start in my life.
But there was worse to come for the team when Tommy McKinnon retired with drive shaft failure on the way to the day's last stage. Carlos Sainz was another former world champion who wouldn't start day 2. An oil leak and the resulting risk of fire meant he too was out. Sainz's teammate Colin McRae also had his share of problems during the day, beginning on stage 1. And then this stall on the start line of stage 7 meant McRae would start day 2 in 10th place. So it was left to Marco Martin to uphold Ford honours, the Estonian 5th at the end of the day. But as expected, the day was dominated by the French teams. Reigning world champion Richard Burns was 4th, while the 2000 title holder Marcus Grönholm was 3rd. Grönholm, though, had lost time with a turbo problem, without which would have been a Peugeot 1-2. As it was, second place was held by Filip Bugalski in what was supposed to be a semi-official Citroën Zara, but which looked every inch a works car. But the drive of the day came from Gilles Panizzi in yet another Peugeot 206. Fastest on all but the first of the day's 8 stages, Panizzi returned to San.Remo with a healthy lead, despite concerns over a shoulder injury, which had kept him from competing on the last round in Germany. This then was how things stood going into day 2. Panizzi 22.8 seconds clear of Bugalski, with Grönholm, Burns, Martin and Jesus Puras in another Citroën rounding off the top 6. The frustrated Solberg would start day 2 in 7th place, with Colin McRae a long way away from getting into the points.
Richard, you must have the championship leader firmly in your sights this morning.
Of course, I mean, we'll have to wait and see what happens.
Yesterday wasn't a good day for us, but it's a new day today and we'll do our best to get back in the points.
Just 1.9 seconds behind Marco Martin now. Can you catch him?
Yeah, of course. I think there is a long rally to come today, and I think there are possibilities to overtake him.
Marco, Jesus Puras says he's going to try and catch you on the first couple of stages today.
I'm sure he tries.
Day 2 would see another 6 stages, including 2 runs through the event's longest test. More incidents and drama were guaranteed. Stage 9, San Romolo, was the first of those tests. With Alistair McRae's withdrawal, Francois Delacour and co-driver Daniel Grateloop now had the hopes of the Mitsubishi team squarely on their shoulders. A loose turbo pipe, however, meant 30 seconds would be lost. pace would be Colin McRae and Nicky Grist.
And 6 left into long slow, 3 right. 30. 4 left plus keep out and left into the 3 minus line.
Petter Solberg and Phil Mills were 5th fastest, the Subaru over 6 seconds quicker than the Ford.
16. Line into 3 left tightens, keep in and surface half 2 right plus.
Once again, it was Marco Martin's Focus, which was the fastest of the Fords, but Jesus Puras was now just 1.3 seconds away from snatching Martin's 5th place.
40, 4 right to cut. 86 left into 4 cut right.
Richard Burns was 25 seconds or so ahead of that battle, concentrating instead on catching the man in 3rd place, Marcus Gronholm.
Okay, 30 flat right, 80 braking, flat right, 30, key left in, and key left, 30, flat left 40.
Gronholm, though, had no intention of letting the Englishman catch him. He and Timo Rautiainen stormed through the stage.
Oikein miinus 5, laseri ehkä pyöree 100. Oikein eri 7.
Nearly 4 seconds faster, Marcus was clearly a man on a mission. With the top 15 now running in reverse order, Filip Bugalski went next, but was another 0.7 of a second slower than Burns. It was now down to the rally leaders. Gilles Panizzi had been quickest on 7 of day one's 8 stages, but Gronholm's determination meant he'd be tough to beat on stage 9.
50 mètres, gauche 95 bref, dans droite 95. Gauche 95 long plus, 100 mètres. Droite 100 plus et 50 mètres ferme 90 long.
So no stage win this time, but remember, that's how day 1 began. Panizzi might have only been 4th fastest, but his lead was still over 22 seconds. Gronholm would close the gap on Bugalski, while that battle for 5th would also be worth watching. 7th placed Solberg desperately wanted a top 6 place, but Colin McRae was still a frustrated 10th. Stage 10 was something special. At over 42 kilometres, it was by far the longest stage of the entire event. It's actually stages 1 and 2 run in the opposite direction, with a 2-kilometre section in the middle now used competitively. Such a stiff test and so many battles going on meant doing well on the stage would be crucial. Francois Delacour had fixed the turbo pipe, but it was now his brakes which let him down. The Mitsubishi was 9th quickest, but was nearly 47 seconds slower than the stage winner. Tony Gardemeister's Skoda, meanwhile, was now in the top 10 for the first time.
Oikein koisti sulkku. Jatkuu pitkä vasen kolmosusko 3. Oikein kolmosulkku. Vasen 7.
France's Cedric Robert is on a one-off drive in a Peugeot World Rally car rather than his regular two-wheel drive 206. The team's decision looked to be paying off. Robert was now in a strong 7th place. Ahead of him, Petter Solberg's day was getting better and better. He and Phil Mills would be 3rd fastest on the stage, gaining 2 places as a result.
Into 1 right past tightens. Opens 40, 6 left, keep in of a crest, slippy, into turn, tight head in right, very slippy. 60. Slippy maybe, 2 left minus tightens.
Jesus Puras, on the other hand, was slipping down the order. Over 20 seconds were lost to the charging Solberg. Puras and co-driver Carlos Del Barrio were now 6th. It's not often we get a chance to ride along for a large section of a stage, but we thought we'd concentrate on how Marco Martin and Michael Park tackled stage 10. Martin, remember, was the other driver battling with Solberg and Puras in the lower half of the top 6.
53 plus left long. 54 minus left long. And 3 right band camber. And 4 left, 3 plus right camber. 3 left, 5 right and 5 right into 3 plus left narrows. 40, 4 minus right, 6 left, 33 plus right, 3 left close, 3 plus right, 3 minus left airy, 30, 4 minus left slow, 20, 5 right and 4 plus left, 50, 6 right, slippy.
That word slippy
30.
was important. But Martin wouldn't be the only driver caught out by that damp stretch of road in the shelter of the trees. Listen for the magic word slippy in Robert Reed's pace notes too.
Right max, damp from here, 70, 90 left hook, slippy, long, 50.
But Burns damaged the car in the incident and would lose nearly 40 seconds compared to the 20 or so lost by
right,
Martin.
Long.
Unaware that the threat from Burns had faded, Gromholm again stormed through the stage, determined to do something about the 2 men ahead of him. Just look at the difference in time between Gromholm in the number 2 Peugeot and the man with the number 1 on his door.
5. Ja vasen nopea suppuun. Oikein nopea. Stage is clear for Markus.
But Bugalski wasn't about to give up his second place without a fight. His Zara might not have been a factory entry, but Citroën honours were at stake nevertheless.
60 mètres, droite 104 léger. 104 léger.
The collision is sudden and violent. You can see from Bugalski's face that he has no idea what happened. Even after he's able to get his breath back, what caused his retirement is still a mystery.
I don't know why. I have a crash here in the corner, but I don't know why. I think the big understeering.
Next into the stage is Panizzi, but the Citroën is blocking the road and so the leader is forced to stop. Gilles quickly tells his brother to call the team and ask them to send help.
Il faut qu'ils arrêtent la spéciale. Non, non, attends, hein. Non, non, mais Hervé, ils arrêtent ça. Appelle la radio, tu dis on est arrêté, Bug est en travers. Stop.
Once it was clear that Bugalski was okay, Panizzi drove slowly through the rest of the stage and was given Grönholm's time.
Richard, the front of the car tells the story. What happened?
I just braked a little bit too late for a piece not far from the end, about 10k from the end of the long stage, and there's quite a lot of gravel on the corner and I understeered into a small wall.
I was pushing quite hard from the beginning, and actually I didn't have any problem with the tires, and not even with the brakes. I was always thinking to not lie on the left foot with the left foot on the brakes, and I was not overheating the tires, so in the end they were still perfect.
I continue to push, and I want to drive fast, and because the feeling is okay, and I think Marcus push very hard, and I continue to push.
Marco, I understand a bit of a moment for you on the stage there, the long one. What happened?
Yeah, I mean, exactly the same place I hit the wall with the Subaru last year. We were having the same moment, but this time I sort of managed to avoid the wall, but still it touched a little bit and made the exhaust pipe a lot smaller, and we sort of spun, had to reverse in that place. But, I mean, we lost a bit of time there, but not too much, so it was fine.
The Imperial Service Park also witnessed the retirement of Subaru's Akim Mortal. His Impreza had left the road on stage 10 and Mortal was taken to hospital complaining of double vision. Stage 11, a repeat of day 1's 4th test, will be rerun twice in the opposite direction on the final day. With not all of the top 6 eligible for manufacturer points, 8th place Freddie Loix was on course to score a couple for Hyundai, although he was still hungry to pick up some for himself. Peter Solberg, though, was aiming much higher. He's never finished on the podium on a tarmac event, but knew that it was now more than possible here in Italy. Not only was he catching Marco Martin, but he had one eye on Richard Burns' 3rd place.
30, right left opens flat through tunnel, 100, dry, keep right into 6 left minus of a crest, opens 100, line into 3 right tightens, 2 minus, into 3 left minus tightens, opens half long, 50, line into 2 right tightens minus, 30, 2 right tightens, and 4 left plus, opens extra long, tightens slow, 40, keep left of a crest, cut slippy, maybe 2 right minus tightens.
Martin himself saw no repeat of the spin on stage 10. Neat and tidy once again, it seemed that battle for a place on the podium would be a 3-way affair.
40, easy right, 100 care, 6 right braking, 40, 2 plus left, and 2 plus right, 23 left.
So it was again Solberg who gained the upper hand on Martin on this occasion, but Burns could still beat the Norwegian's time and take a little of the pressure off again.
40, flat right, plus in 80 braking, flat right long 80, 90 left, tightens 10, sand, 90 right plus, 20, medium left, minus, 20, slow K
left. It wasn't to be. 3rd to 5th places were now covered by a little over 8 seconds. While one of the Peugeot trio was slowly slipping into the clutches of the men behind him, it was a case of business as usual for the 2 other 206s. Grunholm was again inspired on stage 11 and set a blistering pace, nearly 5 seconds quicker than Solberg and a full 7.5 up on Burns. Once again, Panizzi couldn't match that pace and had to settle for second best, but the pair were still over 33 seconds apart.
Gauche 95, long presque plus. 60 mètres, droite 90. 50 mètres, droite 90, presque plus.
Stage 12 was another repeat, San Bartolomeo, a rerun of stage 5. Again, the summit was shrouded in low cloud, but that didn't seem to bother Puras. The Spaniard was also determined, it seemed, to make that fight for 3rd place a 4-way battle. There were a number of places on the stage where drivers could make big cuts through corners, and Solberg used those cuts to brilliant effect. It might have sounded dramatic, but that tactic would shave tenths of seconds off his time on almost every corner. Marco Martin wasn't able to use the same tactic. His car isn't set up to take advantage of the cuts, and his time suffered as a result.
4 left, 5 right, 20, 5 minus right, 4 left line, 20, flat left, 50.
The clock tells the story. The Focus slipped to 5th. Burns, though, could use the cuts. He's well aware that his world title is slipping through his fingers and needs not only as many points as possible, but also to beat Grunholm and start winning rallies.
Long, 20, medium left sand, 20, fast right plus line opens 40, medium right plus in 10, medium left in line opens 80, hairpin left.
So at least the gap to Solberg had eased a little, but there was still the small matter of Grunholm being nearly a minute ahead. Marcus and his co-driving brother-in-law Timo Rautiainen, though, wouldn't enjoy the 25-kilometre stage, not cutting the corners enough and sliding a little on the gravel. Backing off, they were only 4th fastest as a result.
7, oikein täys 100, oikein nopea, kirraa 3 ja vasen pitkä nopea.
So for the first time since the day began, it was Panizzi who was fastest. This his 8th stage win from 12. While Panizzi's lead had grown to over 40 seconds once again, it was now Solberg in 4th place chasing Burns, while Martin now had Jesus Puras to worry about. Cedric Robert still headed the chasing pack, with Colin McRae now scrapping with Freddie Loix for 8th place.
Petter, you're up to 4th overall now, just about 8 seconds behind Richard Burns. Do you think you can catch him?
Of course, we have to take him. That's the plan. And if it's getting rain now, it will be just better for me anyway.
Marco, you've dropped down to 5th overall after stage 12. Why were you slow on that one?
I think first of all, Petter had a very, very good time on that stage, and I was playing safe, and we lost a lot of time there.
But the talk at Peugeot was all about weather and tyres. All 3 drivers chose differently. Panizzi opting for a large number of extra cuts in the tread, Grunholm not quite so many, and Burns fewer still.
There's rain up in the mountains, so everybody's been trying to get as much information, precise information back as quickly as possible and as accurately as possible. And with that information, they've chosen different cuts for the tyres. Now here in the Peugeot camp, the 3 Peugeot drivers have gone for 3 slightly different choices. They've all gone out on dry weather tyres, but they've added extra cuts in them to try and deal with clearing the water that they think they'll find up there.
Stage 13 promised to be wet, at least that was what Peugeot expected, but the conditions were changing by the minute. You can see from Solberg's onboard camera that the road surface was damp, but not that wet. Solberg, like a number of other drivers, had opted for a dry tyre with no cuts.
Surface, line into 2 left plus, half long, tightens, 1 tightens, 10, short hairpin right.
The extra rubber in contact with the road surface made all the difference, and the Norwegian flew through the stage.
50, 6 right plus keep in, 40, 5 left minus. Opens extra long, 6 tightens, 40, short 4 left plus keep in, into 1 right minus.
Marco Martin had made exactly the same tyre choice, and he too looked to have chosen well.
4 left, 4 minus right, 30, 5 left long, 70, 5 plus right, 33 plus right.
Yet another driver on an uncut slick tyre was Colin McRae. As a result, this would be McRae's best stage performance so far.
3 minus line, and long slope 3 right. And 6 left, 30, 6 left into 3 right plus oil. 30, 3 left minus line oil.
Peugeot's decision to opt for those extra cuts to clear away the surface water had clearly been a mistake. Richard Burns would lose nearly 7.5 seconds to the charging Solberg, although Marcus Grönholm would fare a little better.
5 ja vasen eri ja oikein miinus. 5. Vasen ehkä pyöree. 100. Oikein eri. 7. Martin oikein nopea. 04 ja 8.
With Panizzi then losing over 5 seconds, it was left to a jubilant Solberg to take the stage win, and so close the gap to Burns to just 1.4 seconds. Stage 14, the day's last, was a repeat of the 42-kilometre test which saw Bugalski's retirement. The long stage would once again claim victims, Tony Gardemeister retiring after losing a wheel, while Freddie Leutz narrowly avoided a similar fate. Well over 20 minutes would be lost, however. The drying road surface again favoured those drivers on the uncut slick tyres. Solberg in particular sensed his chance to snatch third place away from Burns and once again attacked. Martin's tyres also worked well, even though he was nearly 14 seconds down on Solberg, again the stage winner. Burns knew his cut tyres would again suffer, and he was right. 22.5 seconds slower than Solberg, the unhappy world champion slipped to 4th.
Flat right to fast left plus in, 30, flat left minus and flat left braking 40k right.
Grönholm again didn't suffer quite as much, but it was a tiny margin. Just 0.4 of a second quicker, Grönholm must have also been cursing the team's weatherman. Not as much as Panizzi, however. His tyres had the most cuts of all, remember, and so he had less rubber in contact with the road than either of his colleagues. Just watch the clock to see how much time he lost.
Et 100 mètres, gauche 85 plus 5 plus 32 mètres, gauche 90. Pour droite à fond. Putain, 29,36.
This then is how things stand going into day 3. Panizzi 22.1 seconds ahead of Grönholm with a delighted Solberg 3rd, and Marco Martin now just 6 seconds off Burns 4th place. Leutz's accident means the pressure is now off Colin McRae, but a top 6 place is still a long way off.
The margin's 20 seconds now between you and Petter. You've got a championship at stake. It's got to be a big attack tomorrow.
Yeah, of course, I'll try and get him, but he's done really good times all day today, so I think it's going to be quite tough to do it. If he does keep the position, then he deserves to.
Are you surprised that the three of you in Peugeot made a bad choice? Is that duff weather information?
It wasn't very good.
Well, I will tell you, it's going to be a tough race tomorrow, and you know, it's we know that the Peugeot is very, very good, so you know, I have to, you know, put the throttle pedal to the bottom, that's for sure.
Do you feel that you can win tomorrow for the 3rd time in a row?
I think. Tonight, I am very confident. Very.
So, Gilles Panizzi still leads tonight, but will day 3's 4 stages be enough for Marco? Marcus Bromham to make up those 22 seconds. Can Richard Burns retake that third place from Solberg? Join us again tomorrow for what's guaranteed to be a thrilling climax to the Rally San Remo. But for the time being, it's good night from Italy.